Good evening. I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching ABC10 Tonight. A 12-year-old boy is one of several victims killed in shootings over the weekend. What we're learning about the spike in crime. Plus, Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill that would have helped undocumented students get jobs on college campuses as they try to make ends meet. And it's a popular appetizer at any Mexican restaurant, but it didn't start in Mexico. We're talking about the tortilla chip. ABC10 Tonight starts now.
We start with the aftermath of a violent weekend in the capital city.
5 people were shot and killed, and 3 are now recovering across Sacramento. It all happened in the span of just 26 hours, and police say the shootings are not connected.
Take a look at this map showing where the shootings happened. A man was shot and killed in South Natomas around 2 a.m. Sunday.
An hour later, 2 men were shot in North Sacramento. 1 died. 1 is in the hospital.
On Saturday, a man was shot in the face at a gas station in Sacramento County. He is expected to survive.
And also on Saturday evening, a 12-year-old boy was shot and killed in the Meadowview area.
Sacramento police say it happened on 22nd Street near a school.
ABC 10's Roxanne Elias is live tonight after speaking to several neighbors. And Roxanne, what are they telling you tonight?
Well, Chris, a lot of those neighbors out there in shock right now to hear it was a 12-year-old boy. The coroner's office actually just a few minutes ago identified him as Santino Contreras. A family who lives out there for almost 50 years says it's the most horrific thing that's ever happened near their home.
We were watching TV. I was waiting for dinner to get done in the oven and heard this loud bang against the side of the house. And then I heard a pop, 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 pop.
Debbie Stevens recalls hearing multiple shots fired outside her home on the 22nd Street in Meadowview Saturday evening. One of those shots hit a window on her garage. Her mother, who she lives with, called 911 and they stayed inside until police arrived. Stevens says she saw the boy laying here near the sidewalk just steps away from her front door.
I saw them working on somebody on the ground at the time. I didn't know it was a 12-year-old kid. And I was when we found out it was a 12-year-old boy, we're still heartbroken that it was such a young life that got taken, and scared she was shaking the rest of the night over it.
Sacramento police say they responded to the scene after 6 and found the boy with a gunshot wound. They tried to save him, but he succumbed to his injuries. Neighbors say they don't know who the boy is, but they don't believe he lived in the neighborhood.
That's just really sad. He didn't get a chance to be a teenager. We don't know if it was, wrong place, wrong time, if it was targeted and if it was gang related.
Neighbors say they hope investigators can quickly identify who killed him.
Still a little on edge because you just never know, If it happened once, it could happen again. If it could happen to one kid, it could happen to anybody.
We asked police if the young boy may have had any gang affiliations, but they could not confirm any today. We also asked them the identity of a suspect, but they don't have one yet, nor do they have a description, but they're asking you for any help in the investigation. I'm live in Sacramento. Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Well, our thoughts are certainly with the victims tonight. Roxanne, we thank you for the live update.
Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed a bill that would have provided employment for undocumented students at California colleges and universities. He cited legal concerns for the veto.
ABC 10's Alicia Machado has more on the decision and reaction tonight.
A setback in the fight for employment opportunities for undocumented students. On Sunday, Governor Gavin Newsom vetoing AB 2586, a bill that would allow undocumented students to work at state colleges and universities in California. Under the bill, UCs, CSUs, and California community colleges cannot disqualify a student from being hired if they can't provide proof of federal work authorization. The decision came as a disappointment for Leonardo Rodriguez, an undocumented student at UC Berkeley.
It is very frustrating.
Leonardo came to California from Mexico when he was 5 years old. While DACA allows him to work in the United States, the future is uncertain, and opportunities for students without DACA are limited.
This bill really represents stability for my life and my future. Any day now, DACA can be rescinded by the Supreme Court. And with that, my dreams of going to law school and ultimately to be able to get a job that allows me to provide for my family.
In his veto message, Governor Gavin Newsom said in part, "While I am proud of these efforts, I am unfortunately unable to sign this legislation at this time. Given the gravity of the potential consequences of this bill, which include potential criminal and civil liability for state employees, it is critical that the courts address the legality of such a policy." We asked Blake Nordahl to weigh in, a clinical professor of law at McGeorge School of Law.
There's a 1986 federal statute that generally prohibits employers from hiring unauthorized employees. And so the question is, who does that law apply to? And generally, we've thought it applies to everybody. The law itself states it applies to persons and entities.
But Professor Nordahl says it doesn't explicitly specify the state as an included entity, which could allow for the bill's passage. But he said the federal consequences to immigrants are unknown.
Would that be considered unauthorized employment by the federal government, even though it's interpreted by the state not to be unauthorized? So that issue needs to be addressed.
In Sacramento, Alicia Machado, ABC 10.
And take a look. In a statement to ABC 10, California State University said in part, AB 2586 shone a bright light on the inconsistencies of state and federal immigration policies and employment laws. 10 on Your Side is getting answers for a family that recently made a shocking discovery. Their daughter's grave had been moved.
She wasn't just some name. She wasn't just, she was my daughter. And just to be so flippant about it, like first trying to deny it and telling me, well, we don't do that here. And then to find out, yeah, you do.
Sonia Rodriguez was outraged. She lost her 17-year-old daughter, Jessica, to a drunk driver in West Sacramento on Halloween night back in 2008. A recent visit to her daughter's grave left her in disbelief.
And as soon as I got out, I could see immediately that she had been moved, like immediately.
Take a look. The picture from 2008 shows Jessica's headstone at the center of the bench. But in 2024, the headstone was moved to one side of the bench, and there was even a new green marker.
And I didn't know if just her headstone had been moved.
Sonia emailed 10 on Your Side explaining we had her buried at St. Mary's Cemetery and Funeral Center off Fruit Ridge 16 years ago. We went to visit her and place flowers on her grave on Saturday, 9/14, and was shocked to see her headstone had been moved over from its original placement. I called cemetery leaders and spoke directly to Chief Operating Officer Scott Miller in search of answers.
It's unfortunate. We definitely apologize for any pain and suffering. And in measuring the area, there was a mistake made, again, by about 10 inches. It's very unfortunate. I think our groundsmen took great care to be very respectful, to really not to disturb the remains of their daughter, to just slide her gently to the side so that we could honor the commitment also to this other family who had just lost a loved one.
Miller tells me a wrong measurement resulted in Jessica's vault covering a portion of a neighboring plot that had been pre-purchased.
So what they did is they removed the soil, they dug down along the side enough to be able to gently slide her vault out of the other person's grave, so it was fully in the space intended for her originally.
I was so grateful for you for reaching out and telling me that you'd spoken with the COO, because it's like, okay, somebody knows, because I just felt like nothing was going to be done. Like it happened to you, so what?
We asked why the family wasn't notified.
The remains were never removed from the grave, never brought up out of the grave. If that were to have occurred, our standard practice would have been to notify the family ahead of time, inform them of the situation. But given that the remains were not removed from the grave, essentially just slid over approximately 10 inches to allow for new space, that's why we would have not made a notification.
I had no idea they can even do that. I had no idea that that's even possible. I thought when you buy a plot, that's your final resting place. That's where you're going to be forever.
The funeral service says they're now working with the family to, quote, try and make things right. The family says they want Jessica's body exhumed and cremated. They'd like the funeral service to cover the cost as well as refund the cost of the plot headstone, and their daughter's casket. Both sides are now talking through legal counsel. Stay with ABC 10 for updates. Meanwhile, do you have a problem and just don't know where else to turn? Email me at onyourside@abc10.com.
Well, turning now to this, have you ever seen one of these signs on a truck while driving down the road or on the freeway? So who's responsible for damage that might happen to a vehicle behind it, and how do those circumstances differ? Say you're driving on Highway 50 and a rock flies out of the back of a truck and hits your windshield, but you see this sign. I asked CHP if it's true. Are trucks really not responsible for broken windshields?
So those signs are false. They are 100% responsible for anything that falls out of the back of their truck.
But Officer Ruben Jones says it's a different situation when rocks get kicked up from the road versus coming out of a vehicle. He says nobody's at fault there.
Kicking up of rocks is an accident. Nobody, hits a button and their tire kicks up a, piece of glass or piece of rock. So that is technically your definition of an accident.
But Officer Jones does say that California law states drivers are responsible for keeping what's in their trucks secure from point A to point B. That poses a question though. What if the driver was following a truck too closely when the debris flew out and hit their car?
Whether or not the vehicle was following too close is a completely separate violation that doesn't absolve the trucking company or the truck driver of anything that may fall out of his or her truck.
If this happens to you, Officer Jones says safety is the priority when you're on the road, so try and get as much information about what happened safely. Try and get the company name, a California or US DOT number, location, as well as any other identifying information. You can call CHP so they can make a report, and then you can make an insurance claim. I also spoke with Christopher Helm, associate attorney at Eason and Tambernini. He says to document the damage to your car and stresses the helpfulness of dash cams since you want to have as much information as possible when you make that claim.
Insurance companies are like all other companies that want to make a profit, and so paying out on claims decreases their profit. So they are going to throw up roadblocks with arguments such that you were driving too close, you weren't driving reasonably, and they also are going to try to use those signs as some sort of justification to not pay the claims, which we don't agree with at all. And our stance here at our firm is that they have no legal consequence.
So both the CHP officer and attorney I spoke with said people often don't know when something flies out of their vehicle. So Officer Jones says to just be really aware of your surroundings. If you notice a potential hazard, just make sure to stay away from that truck. You know, when you're driving and you start to feel the little pellets pelting your car, you're like, I just got to get into a different spot.
Where did you get this sign, by the way?
Just ordered it on Amazon.
You did?
For, a little over $10.
Okay. I thought you were trying to tell me something with the sign. I wasn't sure where you were.
I just put it right here. And
I can't go back 200 feet, but I'll do my best. Jordan, good story, and good to know what we can do legally on that.
So let's bring in Brendan, because just like that, the heat is back here in Northern California as well.
So true. We thought we were done with the triple digits, but you're forecasting otherwise?
Yeah, I do have one more day of the next 10 in the triple digits. Unfortunately, it's not common per se for this time of year, but also not totally unheard of. If we should get to 100 tomorrow, we will outright set the record for the most days in a calendar year in Sacramento with a high of at least 100 degrees. We've currently tied the record. We're standing at 44. We did not make it to triple digits today, but we have done this 44 times already this year. We also did that in 2022. My forecast for tomorrow is 100 degrees. So should we hit 100 tomorrow, that number goes to 45 and we'll outright set the record. And in case you're wondering, the normal number of 100 degree plus days in Sacramento over the last 30 plus years is 24. So we basically have more than doubled that. And the last time we hit 100 this year was September 9th, just a couple of weeks ago. We made it to 103. Since then, we had a little taste of fall last week in the 70s. And you would think now that it's officially fall, it should continue to feel like it's 70 outside. In fact, that is not the case. It is 97 right now. Sacramento, 98 in Elk Grove, 97 Stockton, 94 Modesto, 96 up in Colusa, 99 in Marysville, 90 in Placerville, 79 in Truckee, 73 South Lake Tahoe. Across the valley, running about 5 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago. Through this evening, we'll still be in those upper 90s at the top of the hour, low 90s by 7 o'clock, low 80s by the time we get to 9 o'clock. And notice there's not much of a delta breeze to be had tonight. So it will be a mild night, starting off at 65 tomorrow morning, 60 in Elk Grove, 65 Stockton, 66 in Modesto, 72 Placerville, 71 in Auburn, 35 in Truckee and South Lake Tahoe. And in the Big Mountain backyard, as we look at the forecast for tomorrow, keep in mind the average high is 87 degrees. I've got us topping out at 100 tomorrow afternoon. So we'll be in those 80s by 10 a.m., upper 80s by lunchtime, and triple digits in the afternoon. Not a whole lot of wind tomorrow either, but we should get just a little bit more of a delta breeze tomorrow, which will help in the evening hours. 100 Sacramento on Tuesday, 100 Elk Grove, 101 Stockton, 101 Modesto, 102 up in Colusa, 94 Placerville, 98 in Jackson, 98 in Fairfield. Heat advisory for the East Bay and parts of the Delta continues tomorrow. Futurecast for the wind through this evening, not much of a breeze to be had. Not much wind tomorrow either. For most of the day, it's going to be pretty stagnant out there, but then we do get a bit of a breeze developing later on in the evening on Tuesday. But tomorrow's high temperature of 100 is more than 10 degrees above average. In fact, it's almost 15 degrees above average for the time of year, but a big drop in temperature arrives for Wednesday and the rest of the week. High pressure sits overhead today, tomorrow, then it moves out and we're seasonally warm behind it. So as we take a look at the next 10 days, and especially the next 3 days, it's going to be hot tomorrow, but then 88 Wednesday, 90 on Thursday. And looking out in towards the weekend, we stay in the 90s. Again, the average high for the time of year is in those mid to upper 80s. So it's not 100, which is good, but it's also still warmer than where we should be.
It'd be pretty difficult to imagine eating at your favorite taqueria without first chomping down on a basket of toasty yellow tortilla chips. The wildly popular appetizer / snack is a must at any Mexican food establishment. But get this, the crispy corn triangles did not originate in Mexico.
You don't have to go to culinary school for this.
Instead, they were created by Mike Webb's aunt at her Los Angeles tortilla shop.
Did she always call them chips? Who came up with the word
Well,
chips?
she's the one that said, you know, I'm the mother of the tortilla chip.
The woman affectionately known as the mother of the tortilla chip is Rebecca Webb, a title that she wore proudly till the day she died in 2006. But to truly tell the origin of the tortilla chip, we have to start with Mike's father, a glass worker who was forced to become a sheet metal mechanic during World War II.
He saw a machine making something, and he thought, I bet I could make a machine that'll do tortillas.
Prior to the 1940s and 50s, making tortillas was a time-consuming, tedious task. Few tortilla-making machines were on the market, but Mike's father, Milton Webb, who was a bit of an inventor, wanted to change that.
My mother said he worked day and night for 2 years building that machine.
At first, Mike's dad just wanted to sell his invention, but his sister Rebecca talked him into getting into the restaurant business as well.
When I look at these pictures, I can smell the place. It's wonderful.
Mike got to witness his father's tortilla-making machine in action. He says it worked great, but every once in a while, it would spit out a defective tortilla, and it really bothered his Aunt Rebecca.
And it was killing her to see that just going in the trash, wasted. So she went over, cut them up, put them in the fryer, salted them, put them in a little cellophane bag. People bought them, and then people started coming back and asking for them. She was the first one in Los Angeles to be in the tortilla chip business.
Over the years, other tortilla shops started making chips, and before long, large snack companies started mass producing them.
Rebecca didn't patent this idea or anything.
No.
It's a shame.
Mike and his cousin Francis Kelly say today's chips are not as good as the original because Rebecca cooked them with lard, not oil. So they invited me over to their kitchen in Roseville to try her recipe.
Oh my God, I feel like the lard is really what makes it there.
Right.
Mike says Rebecca left the chip-making business after a complicated divorce, but in 1994, the Los Angeles food industry honored Mike's father, Milt, and his Aunt Rebecca with this award.
With the Golden Tortilla Award for their contribution to the Mexican food industry in Los Angeles.
Rebecca and Milt both passed away at the age of 98, but their inventions left a lasting impression on the industry. Milt's tortilla-making machine helped give small taquerias all over America the independence and opportunity to mass-produce their own tortillas. And Rebecca's invention of the tortilla chip, well, it changed the way we all eat Mexican food.
The family business may have left, but I guess the legacy
Right.
is still here. Like,
Yeah.
Reporting on the mother of the tortilla chip for Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm John Bartel.
There is a Sacramento family business we've found to be booming, all thanks to their pot pie recipes.
Yeah, it's called Good Things to Eat, and it's run by a mother and her daughter who, with social media magic and some great recipes, have gained thousands of followers.
ABC10's Mark S. Allen, who has a nose for all good things that are food, has the mom and the daughter there, and there, my friends, is the pot pie that we're so hungry for. Mark?
I've said this a billion times in my career. Never have I meant it more than now. If you could only smell the goodness coming out of this place. Yes, this mom and dad eatery taking off. And by the way, this that you see over here, this crowd, this is organic. Hi, organic crowd. Largely assembled because social media said that you were going to be open today, and you're not normally open on Mondays, are you?
We are not normally open on Mondays, but it's National Pot Pie Day.
Delcy, mom, Eleanor, daughter. The pot pie is blown up, but what's your favorite thing that you make here?
Ooh, that's a great question. I really like, we made Moroccan chicken. So it's like preserved lemons that we made in-house over some house-made French fries served with a classic Middle Eastern salad. It's exactly my kind of thing.
That's amazing. Throw that in a pot pie. What makes your pot pie special?
Good. Well, we don't waste any time on efficiency. We make everything from scratch. We take our time. Eleanor makes an all-butter crust. We put no fillers, nothing. It's just all magic and love.
Okay, this is going to be a bombshell, and don't judge until you try it, but something that you do with your pot pies that most people would balk at is?
No bottom crust.
No bottom crust?
It's a waste.
It does get soggy if you think about it. There's no way to get that crust right.
I think it gets a little soggy, and you want to have all the richness of the gravy, and you want to have that bubbling up through when you warm it up, and you want to know that you have all this nice crispy crust on top. Everybody's been happy.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking good things to eat. By the way, marketing on the mind on the marketing. She said, hey, make sure you say the name. Good Things to Eat. It's that easy. Good Things to Eat, Sacramento. All right, miss, if you would introduce yourself.
Good morning, Jean Minton.
Awesome. You're largely responsible for their early success when they opened 2 years ago because you wrote an article for the local paper that got published everywhere.
I will say Eleanor and Delcy are 100% responsible for their success. It's absolutely incredible what they've done here. First of all, Delcy and Eleanor are amazing human beings. If you do order from here and you have a few minutes, definitely give yourself some extra time to get to know them.
There you go. Do you remember what you said in that article that stood out?
So Delcy and Eleanor have this incredibly rich cultural background that they bring to their food, and they source from all over Sacramento, from all of these great spots. And they're my family's go-to. So anytime that we have picnics in the park or we have people visiting from out of town somewhat unexpectedly, we're calling Delcy and Eleanor.
Exactly. People have said, I've talked to a lot of people, they say it's like having a home-cooked meal if it's being cooked by an executive chef. What's your favorite thing here?
Let's see. My favorite thing is actually the pot pie.
There you go, because it's National Pot Pie Day. All right, give yourselves a big round of applause because you're first in line on this National Pot Pie Day. Way to support. It's Good Things to Eat, SAC, and I'm going to put all their information on my Facebook page. It's Mark S. Allen Show, but we'll go out with the star of the show, this lovely mom, daughter, and their pot pie.
Looks so good this morning.
Back to you.
So, Mark, I know everyone's cheering, so hopefully you can hear this question. But basically, so I know they said that they source from all over the place. So does that mean they have like a rotating menu, or do they have some things that are always on it?
That's a good question. I do know the menu rotates all the time. Locally sourced food means you kind of go with the flow of what comes in, right?
We go with the flow of the seasons. We go with the flow of what's inspiring us with different holidays and festivals that are happening. One of the favorites in the room is mofongo, which we do on Puerto Rican Day Parade Day, which is Memorial Day. So we like to switch it up.
There you go. You know, there was a cheat sheet for your question right there. Our menu changes weekly.
Perfect.
Nice.
Back to you.
All right, you know, most news anchors, and I hate this at different stations, they go, bring me back some of that food, right? I'm like, don't do that. Please give me the pot pie.
Yeah.
I want the pot pie
That looks
today.
pretty good.
All right, Mark, thank you. That's a mouth-watering live shot.
Thanks for watching ABC10 Tonight. Keep in mind, we're here 24/7 on the free ABC10 Plus app. You can always get your news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Alex Bell. Join me weeknights at 6:30 on To The Point. Instead of just reporting on the problems, we cut through the noise and look for solutions. We're not afraid to investigate local stories. We're not afraid to include different perspectives. We're not afraid to hold those in power accountable. This is your community, and it's my community too, and we're here to make it better for everyone. Join me, Alex Bell, on To The Point, weeknights at 6:30, only on ABC10.